Hello, my name is Jennifer Schaaf from the Center to Improve Program and Project Performance, and I'm here to present using meaningful logic models to build evaluation plans. In this session, we will discuss the characteristics and uses of a logic model and how to link the evaluation plan to the logic model. We will also familiarize you with tools that CIPP has created to help projects create strong logic models and build effective evaluation plans from them. Just a reminder that the content of this presentation represents the CIPP project and not OSEP. What is the Center to Improve Program and Project Performance, or CIPP? It is an OSEP-funded center to provide technical assistance to OSEP and to OSEP grantees on evaluation design and implementation and performance measures. We can be engaged by OSEP request or project request to provide help. In our work with projects, we find they often need some supports to create strong logic models and to link their evaluation plan to their model. So we support those efforts with direct TA and with helpful tools and products. So let's start with a logic model. Often the full usefulness of the logic model is not well understood. The logic model presents the entire project at a high level, including project investments, planned activities, and the expected outcomes at different points in time and for different groups the project is involved with. The logic model shows the hypothesized causal flow from inputs and activities to short, medium, and long-term outcomes. It also provides a roadmap for project planning and implementation, as well as the blueprint for a strong evaluation plan. Finally, the logic model describes the project and results as a simple linear process. This is in contrast to a theory of change or theory of action that may depict complex relationships and confounding factors. What are the key components of the logic model? The logic model includes components of the project and the expected results of the project. The inputs are what the project invests. These include things like staff time and money. The activities or participation are what the project does, such as develop programs or direct services. The outputs are what the project produces, such as the number of activities or the number of clients reached. The outcomes are the impact that the project expects to have. These include short-term results such as changes in knowledge or skills, medium-term results such as changes in practice or policies, and long-term results like changes in social or environmental conditions. The logic model components are critical because they will act as a map for the project and for the evaluation plan. Without a good map, you can't tell if you're going the right way. When you go on a trip, you need to know the direction you should head in, what roads to take, and the landmarks you should expect to see along the way. Similarly, the logic model should include meaningful short, medium, and long-term outcomes as landmarks on the journey toward the ultimate project goals. These outcomes must go beyond measures of quality, relevance, and usefulness. Those are necessary for a project to succeed, but they are not sufficient. What if no one uses the high-quality materials or attends the trainings? Or what if they do so but then fail to learn from them or fail to put their learning into practice? To select the right outcomes in the logic model, think about what the project must do and what must happen in the short, medium, and long term along the way to the project's ultimate goals. Think about what must happen to each of the groups that the project works with, including students, providers, schools, families, and any other target populations the project will work with. A strong logic model must include meaningful objectives for all target populations in the short, medium, and long term. What outcomes should be in the logic model? The logic model should include the outcomes that are most meaningful. Those outcomes should be ones that are necessary for the project to accomplish as it moves toward the ultimate project goals. What is expected to happen in the short, medium, and long term, and for all groups that the project worked with? These should all be included in the outcomes of the logic model. The logic model won't include every single expected result of the project activities, but it does need to include outcomes that address important expected results, especially early results that will build upon each other to cause later results. Outcomes should include the essential information that will be needed to inform continuous improvement and to demonstrate project impacts. This sample parent training and information center logic model shows a good example of the type of project outcomes that should be included. This sample project provides training and individual TA for parents. Outputs include the number of trainings and the number of parents served. The short-term outcomes include increases in parent knowledge in the areas of the nature of their child's disabilities, their rights under the IDEA, and special education systems. The medium-term outcomes include changes in parents' actions, including increased ability to help their child succeed, navigate special education systems, and use effective modes of collaboration with educators. It's clear how these shorter-term outcomes map the way to the expected long-term outcome that parents and educators collaborate to provide improved services to children with disabilities. For example, parents' increased knowledge about the nature of their child's disability is an important landmark and one that typically must be reached before a parent increases their ability to help their child succeed. CIPP has a number of tools and products available to support projects as they create their logic models and evaluation plans. These tools are designed to help projects develop a strong logic model, understand the benefits of basing the evaluation plan on the logic model, and align evaluation and analysis to the logic model. Two important CIPP tools are shown here. These and other CIPP tools can be found on the OSEP Ideas That Work site. The first tool shown here, linking expectations to evaluations, using your logic model to create your evaluation plan, is a brief that provides guidance and examples for creating strong alignment between project evaluation plans and logic models. It also explains how an evaluation plan that is aligned to the project logic model will help target evaluation resources and focus energy. The second tool is Making Project Measures Meaningful: Quality, Relevance, Usefulness, and Beyond. This brief helps projects design an evaluation that includes quality, relevance, and usefulness measures, but also moves beyond them with measures that show progress towards project objectives. Effective project measures will include those that demonstrate what is working and what is not, and ultimately show improved outcomes for infants, toddlers, children, and youth with disabilities, as well as their families and personnel who serve them. Recently, CIPP has added a series of training videos to its array of project supports. The training series is in 4 parts: Why link the evaluation plan to the logic model, Logic Models 101, What makes a good logic model, and How to link the evaluation plan to the logic model. The ultimate purpose of this training series is to help participants understand the benefits of using a logic model to create an evaluation plan, develop a strong logic model that shows how inputs and activities are expected to lead to meaningful, short, medium, and long-term outcomes, and then align evaluation data collection and analysis to critical components within the logic model. Let's take a closer look at the final training module, How to Link the Evaluation Plan to the Logic Model.
Hello, my name is Margaret Gillis from the Center to Improve Program and Project Performance, and I'm here to present part 4 of our training series on using a logic model to build a strong evaluation plan. In this session, we will be discussing how to link the evaluation plan to the logic model. Through viewing this video, participants will gain an understanding of how to select what to evaluate, how to align evaluation questions, data sources, and methods with the logic model, and how to ensure language in the evaluation plan and logic model are aligned. When developing your evaluation plan, start with the logic model. If an element is important enough to be in the logic model as an activity, output, or outcome, consider including it in the evaluation. It may not be possible to evaluate everything in the logic model. Consider the scope of the evaluation, the resources, including funding available, and what is practical. Consider the evaluation timeline. Your logic model may include long-term outcomes that are not expected to occur within the timeline of the project. These outcomes may not be measurable. Prioritize which logic model elements will be included in the evaluation plan. You may not need to evaluate every activity or output listed. In prioritizing what to evaluate, focus on identifying the essential information needed to inform continuous improvement and demonstrate project results. Consider the activities, outputs, and outcomes that are essential to understanding how the project is being implemented, if the project is meeting expected benchmarks, and whether the project is having the intended impact. Ask these questions. What are the most critical elements of the logic model? Which outcomes are most important to the project, funders, and other stakeholders? Which logic model elements are easy to measure? What existing data sources can help to evaluate logic model elements? What are the resources and expertise available for the evaluation? The next step is to determine the methods for evaluating each element. Components of the evaluation plan include evaluation questions, data sources, measures, data collection procedures, and analysis procedures. Let's look at this sample logic model. As discussed in other parts of the training series, the inputs describe what is invested in the project. The activities describe what the project will do. The outputs identify what the project will produce. The outcomes address the impact of the project and build on one another. Short-term outcomes often address learning that is essential to impacting action, which may be represented in a medium-term outcome. Long-term outcomes require short and medium-term outcomes to be achieved in order to accomplish the ultimate impact of the project on systemic conditions. Let's look at an example of how to align the evaluation questions to the logic model. This example shows a portion of the logic model for a parent training and information center. Consider the questions you might ask to evaluate the inputs, activities, outputs, and outcomes of this project. Let's look at some examples. To evaluate how the project is being implemented, evaluation questions about the inputs and activities may include: what is the total monetary investment in the project? What is the total staff FTE applied to the project? What technical assistance activities are implemented, changed, and/or added? And what successes and challenges are experienced? How many online and in-person training sessions are held? And how many parents participate in online and in-person training sessions and individual technical assistance? To evaluate whether the project is having the intended impact, evaluation questions related to the outcomes may include: what percentage of participating parents have increased knowledge of the nature of their children's disabilities, their rights under the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, and special education systems? What percentage of participating parents are better able to help their children succeed, navigate special education systems, and use effective modes of collaboration with educators? And what percentage of participating parents collaborate with teachers to provide improved services for children with disabilities? Now let's take that example a step further to look at aligning data sources and measures to the evaluation questions and the logic model. Here we see the evaluation questions that are aligned with the sample logic model. Let's identify some data sources and methods that could be used to address each question. To address questions about the inputs, we might look at the budget and financial reports and staff FTE reports. To evaluate the activities, we may look at a list of project activities that were planned, completed, and changed. And we may conduct focus groups of staff members and parents. To evaluate the outputs, we may look at a list of online and in-person trainings that were completed, training attendance sheets, and a list of parents receiving individual technical assistance. To address the short-term outcomes, we may look at a parent survey or interviews with a subset of participating parents. To address the medium-term outcomes, we may use a parent survey and interviews with a subset of participating parents as well. And to address the long-term outcomes, we may use a parent survey on parent-teacher collaboration administered at the first training or technical assistance and 9 months later. In evaluating the medium-term and long-term outcomes, consider opportunities to use comparisons to increase the rigor of the evaluation. For example, you might compare survey responses from parents who participated in the project activities to responses from parents who did not. When identifying the data sources and methods to use for the evaluation, consider how you may be able to promote efficiencies within the evaluation. You want to make the most of your evaluation so it is useful for continuous improvement. Some things to think about include what data sources already exist, what new data needs to be collected. Will the method or data source be feasible? Will it produce valid and reliable information? And will it provide timely and relevant information for decision-making? In addition, can the data be collected and analyzed often enough to inform project progress? It is important to ensure the language in the evaluation plan is aligned with the language in the logic model. If your logic model outcome is about parent use of a strategy, the evaluation plan should address use of the strategy as well, not knowledge about the strategy or confidence using the strategy. Let's look at some examples. Here we see outcomes from the logic model with associated evaluation questions and performance indicators. The performance indicator identifies the level at which it is determined the outcome has been met. Let's start with the first line. We have the short-term outcome of parents will increase their understanding of strategies to support their child's development. Is the question and performance indicator aligned with the outcome? Here we see a corrected example. The bolded understanding has been updated to better align with the outcome. Let's look at another example. Are the evaluation question and performance indicator aligned with this outcome? Here we see the medium-term outcome. Parents will use a variety of strategies to support their child's development. How could you change the evaluation question and performance indicator to better align with the outcome? Here we see a new version with the wording updated to using a variety of strategies to better align with the outcome. Using observations or assessments of strategy use, rather than just asking for self-report data, will help you make your evaluation more rigorous. Now let's look at a few examples of alignment between logic model elements and data sources. Here we see the output number of trainings provided. Which of these data sources is aligned? The data source list of trainings provided aligns with the logic model element number of trainings provided. In this example, we have a short-term outcome. Parents in training increase their knowledge of the content. Which of these three data sources is aligned? In this example, the pre-post assessment of knowledge on the training content is the data source that is aligned with the logic model. In this example, we have a midterm outcome. Parents report feeling better able to navigate the special education system. Which of the data sources is aligned? Here we see that parent focus groups are the data source aligned with parents report feeling better able to navigate the special education system. In summary, the logic model identifies what to evaluate. The evaluation questions, data sources, and methods should be aligned with the logic model, and the language in the evaluation plan should be aligned with the logic model.
Thank you for joining us today. We look forward to talking with you more about strong logic models and effective evaluation plans and CIPP tools at the live conference panel discussion.